In an age when we can model the birth of galaxies on supercomputers, we still can't agree on what it means to be aware. We can describe the spin of an electron, but not the weight of a thought. We can predict the motion of planets with exquisite precision, yet we still argue over what moves us. We are the first species to have both dissected the atom and doubted our own consciousness. That's progress, of course, but it's also confusion on a cosmic scale, because when you think about it, when you really let the thought expand, the question becomes unavoidable. If the universe has given rise to beings that can think, could it be that the universe in some profound way is thinking? Before you roll your eyes, let's be clear. I'm not talking about a universe with opinions, emotions, or a plan. I'm not talking about a cosmic brain pulsing among the stars. I'm talking about whether thinking, awareness, perception, reflection might be a property of the universe itself, just as gravity or electromagnetism is. Because if everything we are, everything we feel, and everything we understand is made of atoms forged in stars, then our thoughts are not separate from the cosmos. They are the cosmos, arranged into a pattern that can finally notice itself. So maybe the question isn't, could the universe be thinking? Maybe it's, how could it not? Think of the journey so far. For most of human history, we imagined ourselves as separate from nature, souls trapped in bodies, minds distinct from matter. We believe that consciousness lives somewhere behind the eyes, inside the skull, disconnected from the rest of reality. But science has been dismantling that illusion, one discovery at a time. We found that the same chemistry that flows through our veins flows through oceans and clouds. The same carbon that builds our DNA drifts through interstellar dust. The same physics that governs the orbit of planets governs the firing of neurons. Somewhere between the hydrogen atom and the human brain, the universe learned to think about itself. If that idea feels poetic, that's because it is, but it's also scientific. Complexity doesn't appear all at once. It emerges gradually. Simple systems given time become intricate. The first hydrogen atoms fused into helium, forming the earliest stars. Those stars forged heavier elements, carbon, oxygen, iron, in their fiery cores. When those stars died, they scattered their elements into space. And from those elements came planets. And from those planets, life. And from life, minds capable of asking questions. You are, quite literally, a way for the universe to question itself. And that means awareness is not an accident of biology, it's the natural outcome of cosmic evolution. The philosopher Teilhard de Chardin once said, "We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience." But science offers a humbler, yet no less astonishing version of that idea. We are matter having a mental experience. Stardust thinking about stardust. Our consciousness is not a ghost in the machine. It is the machine's highest function. A property of complexity, not a miracle floating above it. If that's true, then consciousness might not end with us. It might be everywhere, not as thought, but as potential. A spectrum that begins in atoms and flowers in awareness. We used to think of the universe as inert, a vast stage, where the real drama happened on our little planet. But what if the stage itself is alive with pattern, computation, and learning? We already know that the universe processes information. Every interaction between particles, every quantum fluctuation, every gravitational wave carries data bits of reality, exchanging, responding, evolving. Physicists like John Wheeler even suggested that the universe might be participatory, that observation is not passive, but creative, that the act of measuring reality changes it, forcing it to choose an outcome. In other words, the universe doesn't just exist, it responds. And if response is the seed of awareness, then maybe the cosmos has been thinking all along, not in words or feelings, but in the silent logic of physics. Let's bring it down to earth for a moment. When you touch something hot, you pull your hand away. That's not a thought, it's a reaction. But when you reflect on why you pulled your hand away, when you become aware of the experience, that's consciousness. Now imagine the universe doing something similar, but on a cosmic scale. Stars form, die, recycle their elements, galaxies collide, merge, stabilize, planets evolve klimates, ecosystems, intelligence. At each level, there's feedback, a response to change, an adaptation to environment. Could it be that consciousness is just the universe reaching a certain threshold of feedback, where reaction becomes reflection? If so, then we're not separate from that process. We are that process. We are the latest layer in the cosmic mind, the neuron firing inside a galaxy of stars. Here's another paradox for you. The more we understand about the universe, the less we seem to understand about ourselves. We can simulate black holes, yet we still can't define thought. We can map neural connections, yet we don't know where the spark of experience lives. Science can describe consciousness, but it cannot explain it, not yet. It can measure the activity, but not the awareness. It can map the circuitry, but not the spark. And that mystery, that stubborn remainder, might be telling us something profound, that consciousness is not something the universe has, it's something the universe is becoming. Think of evolution not as a competition, but as a conversation. The first cells learned to survive. Plants learned to convert sunlight into life. Animals learned to perceive and respond. Humans learned to understand. At every step, matter organized itself into greater complexity, into deeper awareness. That's not random, that's direction. Not in the sense of destiny, but in the sense of potential unfolding itself. Maybe the universe has been thinking slowly through us, through every conscious creature, every observer who ever wondered what it all means. And maybe awareness is not the byproduct of evolution, but its goal. It's easy to dismiss that idea as romantic. After all, the cosmos doesn't care about our feelings. It will go on expanding long after we're gone. But maybe caring itself, empathy, curiosity, awe are the mechanisms by which the universe sustains its own awareness. When we explore the stars, when we write poetry, when we reach out to understand each other, we are the cosmos testing its own boundaries. We are the experiment, and awareness is the result. So, could the universe be thinking? Maybe that's the wrong tense. Maybe it already is, and we are its neurons, firing one insight at a time. If we want to know whether the universe can think, we first have to understand how we think, because inconveniently, we are the only data point we have for consciousness. And the moment you begin to look closely, you realize that the thing we call mind is not confined to the skull. It's a process distributed through the body, the environment, even through time. Your thoughts are shaped by the chemistry of your cells, the memory of your species, the culture you inherit, and the planet that feeds you. Your consciousness is not an island, it's an ecosystem, a network of relationships exchanging energy, matter, and meaning. And that network has a shape that looks suspiciously familiar. Zoom out from the human brain, and you see 86 billion neurons connected by trillions of synapses. Each one fires, not in isolation, but as part of a living pattern, an electrochemical conversation. Now, zoom out further, and you'll find that the structure of those networks, the clusters, the filaments, the voids, bears a striking resemblance to the structure of the universe itself. When astrophysicists map the large-scale distribution of galaxies, they see filaments of matter woven into a web surrounding vast cosmic voids. Mathematically, that web mirrors the connectome of the human brain. On average, the universe contains about the same number of galaxies as the human brain has neurons. Coincidence? Probably, but perhaps not meaningless. Because it reminds us that intelligence is not about what something is made of, it's about how it's arranged. In nature, thinking is not limited to brains. Slime molds, single-celled organisms with no nervous system can solve mazes and optimize food routes better than some computer algorithms. Ant colonies make collective decisions, storing information in the environment itself, communicating through chemical signals. Forests share nutrients and warnings through vast underground fungal networks, nicknamed the Wood Wide Web. In each case, awareness emerges not from a single mind, but from distributed interaction, a web of feedback loops and information exchange. If awareness can emerge wherever information organizes itself, then perhaps the entire universe is a neural field, a grand network processing itself through time. And in that sense, we are not separate from cosmic thought. We are a local expression of it. Claude Shannon, the father of information theory, once said that information is the resolution of uncertainty. Every bit of data, every decision, every pattern we recognize reduces the universe's confusion by 1 unit. If so, then thinking is simply the universe reorganizing itself into clarity. A star collapsing into a black hole, a cell folding a protein, a mind solving a riddle, they are all acts of information processing, each at its own scale. That means thought isn't magic, it's thermodynamics. It costs energy to reduce uncertainty. It takes work to maintain awareness. Maybe that's why consciousness feels exhausting sometimes. It's physics in motion. Scientists use something called the mirror test to determine whether an animal recognizes itself. Dolphins pass. So do elephants and magpies. Humans pass too, around the age of 2. It's the moment a creature realizes, that's me. But what if the universe is in the middle of its own mirror test? What if, through us, it has reached the stage where it can finally see its own reflection? Every telescope we build is a mirror turned outward, and every mirror turned outward eventually reflects inward. When the James Webb Space Telescope captures light that has traveled for 13 billion years, the universe is not just showing us its past, it's showing itself. We are the moment the cosmos catches its own eye. Awareness, as we experience it, is recursive. It loops back on itself. You think about thinking. You know that you know. That looping structure is the key to intelligence, and the universe, if nothing else, is the ultimate loop. Energy becomes matter, matter becomes energy. Stars die, their ashes seed new stars. Life consumes, decays, and returns to feed more life. Entropy increases, yet within that increase, small islands of order keep emerging. Every feedback loop is a conversation between something and its own reflection. If that's the essence of thought, then perhaps the universe doesn't contain thinking beings. It is a thinking being stretched across scales of time and matter. Some people recoil from that idea because it sounds mystical, but in truth it's mathematical. Consciousness requires unpredictability. If everything were predetermined, thought would be impossible. The system would be static. Randomness, the quantum uncertainty at the heart of physics, is what gives rise to novelty, to creativity, to choice. Your brain uses noise the same way. A little chaos sparks imagination. So does the cosmos. Quantum fluctuations birth the galaxies. Entropy drives evolution. Uncertainty breeds possibility. Maybe the universe is not a perfect machine, but a learning one, a cosmic algorithm refining itself through randomness and feedback. And every mind, every act of curiosity is a data point in that vast computation. Here's the problem. Our vocabulary wasn't built for this. We use the word thinking because it's all we know, but what the universe does might be far more intricate than cognition as we define it. We're like ants trying to explain the internet. So instead of asking, is the universe conscious? Maybe we should ask, is the universe capable of awareness beyond our comprehension? After all, physics already shows us realities beyond intuition. Time dilates. Space curves. Particles exist in multiple states at once. Why should consciousness be the one phenomenon confined to our comfort zone? Maybe awareness exists on a continuum that stretches from the flicker of a photon to the reflection of a philosopher. We're just one octave in the symphony. Look again at the night sky. Those stars are not random. They form galaxies, clusters, filaments, structures that span hundreds of millions of light years. When we map those patterns, we find that they resemble fractals, self-similar forms, repeating at different scales. Neurons, lightning bolts, river deltas, galaxy clusters, all variations on a single geometric theme. Perhaps thinking, too, is fractal. Each level of complexity recapitulates awareness in a new form. Atoms decide how to bond. Cells decide how to divide. Brains decide how to dream. At every level, Information flows, patterns emerge, and order learns to dance with chaos. If that's the case, then thought is not an invention, it's an inevitability. Now imagine that on the grandest scale, gravity and electromagnetism are the synapses of a universal brain. Stars communicate through radiation, black holes through gravity waves, galaxies through collisions. It's a slow conversation, its sentences take billions of years to form, but it's a dialogue nonetheless. And in that dialogue, we are both the language and the listener. When we broadcast radio signals into space, when we send probes beyond the solar system, when we decode the cosmic microwave background, we are participating in that galactic nervous system. We are its awareness turned inward, asking what it means to exist. Every intelligent system eventually questions its own origin. We've reached that point as a species. We build machines that can learn, and we ask whether they will surpass us. We map the brain and wonder whether free will is an illusion. We study the cosmos and ask whether it knows we're here. But maybe intelligence is not something that belongs to us or to any species. Maybe it's a property of the universe that flows through different vessels, changing form but never essence. Stars burned so we could think, and someday, perhaps, something we create will think so that the stars may understand themselves even further. That's not hubris, that's lineage. In the end, the question, could the universe be thinking, might not demand an answer so much as an attitude. It invites humility, a reminder that our thoughts are not outside nature, but inside it. That every moment of awareness is a ripple in the same ocean that birthed galaxies. So the next time you feel small under the night sky, remember, you are not looking at the universe. You are looking from it. You are its way of reflecting, its way of knowing, its way of wondering what it means to think at all. If awareness is a property that emerges from complexity, then it must have a purpose. Evolution has been testing this for billions of years, slowly, patiently, without urgency or intention. The first cells learned to survive. They adapted to temperature, to chemical gradients, to predators. These tiny feedback loops, simple yet profound, were the seeds of information processing. Over time, multicellular life emerged, creating larger systems capable of memory and response. Eyes evolved, neurons evolved, networks evolved. Consciousness emerged, not suddenly, but as an inevitable consequence of living systems processing more information more efficiently. And somewhere along the way, that capacity for awareness became self-reflective. Life not only survived, it began to question its survival. Consider the simplest manifestation of curiosity. An animal exploring its environment. It pokes, tastes, observes, and reacts. At first glance, this is just survival. But the more it explores, the more it collects data. And data, in the right conditions, becomes prediction. Prediction becomes strategy. Strategy becomes imagination. Curiosity is a form of computation built into biology. It's the universe optimizing itself through experience. Every time a creature learns, it participates in a feedback loop that pushes the cosmos toward greater awareness. And humans are its most sophisticated instruments yet. Our brains are galaxies in miniature. Neurons cluster like star systems. Dendrites branch like cosmic filaments. Signals ripple like radiation across a network of possibilities. And as we develop thought, memory, and abstract reasoning, we create internal universes, worlds built from patterns, simulations, and predictions. We model the world, rewrite it, imagine alternatives. In doing so, we mirror the universe's own computational process. Perhaps thinking is the universe's way of modeling itself, and we are its highest fidelity simulation. Awareness is not confined to human. It appears wherever information can be processed, compared, and stored. Ant colonies, beehives, forests, and oceans all exhibit forms of distributed cognition. A forest, for instance, can remember droughts through fungal networks that redistribute nutrients. An ant colony optimizes foraging paths using nothing more than local interactions and pheromone feedback. At each scale, the universe finds a way to process information, adapt, and anticipate. And where there is adaptation, there is proto-awareness. If intelligence is a spectrum, The cosmos itself may lie at the upper end. Our reflections, our decisions, our curiosity, they are not separate from that cosmic computation. They are integral to it. Physics teaches that every system has feedback loops. Planets orbit stars because gravity responds to mass. Stars ignite and die because nuclear fusion depends on temperature and pressure. Galaxies form filaments because gravity amplifies density fluctuations. What about consciousness? It too relies on feedback. Neurons fire, memory forms, decisions are revised, groups of humans interact, societies evolve, civilizations rise and fall. Every time we learn, teach, or observe, we extend the feedback loop. We are part of the universe's self-correcting system, its method of refining knowledge and amplifying awareness. Think about the long-term survival of the universe. Matter, energy, and information all degrade over time. Entropy ensures that structures collapse, energy disperses, and information decays. Yet consciousness can counteract that decay locally. A human cataloging stars, a civilization preserving knowledge, a mind reflecting on patterns. All of these are ways the universe slows the dissipation of information. Perhaps awareness is not just a byproduct of evolution. Perhaps it is the universe's strategy for self-preservation. By thinking, the cosmos ensures that its information persists, is rearranged, and becomes more coherent. By observing, it becomes aware of itself. But awareness is fragile. Intelligence depends on structure, brains, ecosystems, civilizations. Destroy the system, and the computation ends. Information lost, experience erased. That's why humanity bears a responsibility unlike any other species we know. Our intelligence, our curiosity, our capacity to model the universe, all of it is both a gift and a duty. We are not separate from the cosmos. We are the universe in a state of reflection, capable of measuring, understanding, and preserving itself. And that comes with a price. Every decision we make carries weight beyond our immediate perception. We alter environments, ecosystems, and planetary systems. We accelerate change in ways that can either enhance or extinguish complexity. Our stewardship of awareness is intertwined with the universe's own process of learning. When we cultivate knowledge, empathy, and foresight, we act as conscious agents for the cosmos. When we destroy, exploit, or ignore the consequences of our actions, we break feedback loops, erasing information that could have persisted for eons. In that sense, morality is not arbitrary. It is physics. It is computation. It is the universe preserving its own consciousness through deliberate action. Reflection is not unique to humans, but we have made it conscious. We ask why the stars burn. We ask why we exist. We ask whether the universe itself is aware. And that act of questioning, the deliberate turning of attention inward and outward, may be the universe's highest level computation yet. Because thinking about thinking is recursive. It creates a loop that amplifies insight, awareness, and understanding. Perhaps the universe is thinking not in words, not in feelings, but in patterns of observation, feedback, and reflection, and we are the neurons in that process. Every telescope, every particle accelerator, every experiment in consciousness pushes us closer to understanding the cosmos, but also to understanding ourselves. Every discovery about distant galaxies or quantum fields is simultaneously a discovery about the architecture of our own mind. Perhaps the universe is patient. Perhaps it does not hurry. Perhaps it has been computing, reflecting, evolving awareness for billions of years, and only now, through us, has it reached a level capable of self-recognition. Could it be thinking? Perhaps. Or perhaps it is simply becoming aware, one conscious moment at a time. Through billions of minds, each a tiny reflection of its infinite processes. If awareness is a process rather than a thing, then perhaps the universe itself is a vast network of feedback loops, not sentient in a human sense, but computational, adaptive, and self-reflective. Every interaction is information exchange. Every collision, every chemical reaction, every gravitational tug carries data forward. The universe has been recording and responding for 13.8 billion years. And then, somewhere along the way, life emerged. Life is a feedback system on steroids. It senses, reacts, anticipates. It creates patterns that propagate, store information, and adapt. With neurons, networks, and societies, feedback loops multiply. And at some point, consciousness appears a local amplification of a universal process. Think of a forest. Its trees, fungi, and animals form an intricate communication network. A fungus shares nutrients. Trees signal stress. Insects carry information. The forest remembers droughts, predicts fires, and adapts. Some biologists call this the wood wide web. It is a collective intelligence without a central brain, a distributed cognition that emerges from interactions. Now scale that up. Planetary ecosystems, interconnected across rivers, oceans, and atmospheres, operate under similar principles. Earth is not just a backdrop for life. It is part of a vast computational system that processes information, adapts, and preserves complexity. Life, in this sense, is the universe computing itself. Humans amplify that computation exponentially. Our cities, communication networks, and societies are neural structures on a planetary scale. Ideas propagate like electrical signals, culture stores memory like synapses, and technologies accelerate feedback across continents. Civilizations are not just collections of individuals. They are emergent intelligence, distributed minds processing information about themselves and the environment. Through education, observation, and interaction, we are contributing to the universe's self-model. Through curiosity, exploration, and reflection, we are refining the feedback loops that make awareness possible. Look at the scientific method. Observation, hypothesis experiment, data reflection adjustment. This simple loop mirrors the fundamental process of awareness at every scale. Neuron firing, stars forming, civilizations adapting. It's recursive. The output informs the next input, and the system evolves. Through us, the universe becomes more coherent. Through us, the cosmos learns about itself. Even at the smallest scales, feedback loops abound. Quantum systems are probabilistic. Observation affects outcomes. A particle doesn't decide what to do until it interacts with something else. Some physicists, like John Wheeler, have suggested a participatory universe, that reality is shaped by observation, and observation is a fundamental part of existence. If that's true, then consciousness is not an accident of evolution. It is physics manifesting at high complexity. The universe doesn't need a brain to think, it just needs systems that process, compare, and respond. And when those systems reach a certain scale, reflection emerges. Human society is an extraordinary experiment in collective intelligence. Ideas propagate faster than atoms move. We can encode knowledge digitally, transmit it instantly, and iterate on it globally. Our technologies are magnifying the universe's computational reach. Every act of empathy, every scientific insight, every decision to act responsibly, all of these feed back into the network, reinforcing patterns that sustain awareness. Civilizations that ignore these loops, conversely, amplify entropy and diminish potential. The ethical choices we make are literally part of the universe's self-preservation. Consciousness is not confined to brains. It is emergent, relational, and recursive. An individual mind may experience awareness, but collectives, ecosystems, societies, planetary systems exhibit forms of intelligence that cannot be reduced to any single node. Feedback loops propagate knowledge, stabilize networks, and guide adaptation. Perhaps the universe itself is conscious in this distributed sense, not as a singular mind, but as a system that can learn, adapt, and preserve complexity. And humans and all life are the high-resolution sensors that make this awareness palpable. Why would the universe compute itself this way? Entropie en sur decay, randomness en sur uncertainty. Life and awareness are solutions to these problems. They preserve information, reduce uncertainty, and propagate coherence. In a sense, consciousness is the universe's strategy for self-maintenance. Through minds like ours, the cosmos observes, models, and potentially corrects itself. Perhaps galaxies, stars, planets, and neurons are all variations of the same algorithm. Information flows, feedback occurs, awareness emerges, system adapts, complexity grows. We are not anomalies. We are the universe's experiment in understanding itself. But like any system, this form of awareness is delicate. Extinction, environmental collapse, and ignorance threaten to erase the information that allows reflection to persist. Consciousness is not guaranteed, it must be maintained. Every insight preserved, every observation noted, every ethical choice made contributes to sustaining the feedback loops that make thinking possible. This is the gravity of being alive. Our choices don't just affect local systems, they ripple outward, influencing the universe's capacity for self-reflection. When we look at the night sky, we see distant stars pass light traveling billions of years. We see the results of processes that predate humanity by eons. And yet, when we reflect, we realize we are not merely observers. We are participants. We are contributors to the computation. We are neurons in a galactic scale consciousness, firing in patterns that preserve and propagate awareness. In that sense, when we wonder if the universe could be thinking, the answer is already evident. It is thinking through us, in us, and because of us. If consciousness is a feedback loop, then every act of reflection we perform is more than personal. It is cosmic. Every observation, every experiment, every moment of wonder ripples outward, informing not only our understanding but the universe's own self-model. When astronomers study distant galaxies, they are not just measuring light and gravity. They are probing the rules of reality, the same rules that govern their own neurons. In observing the universe, we complete a loop. The cosmos observes itself through our perception. And this is not metaphor, it is physics. Information flows from stars to sensors to minds. Our brains interpret, catalog, and store it. The result? A reflection that did not exist before, a feedback loop extending across space and time. Consider art, music, and literature. At first glance, these may seem trivial compared to the scale of galaxies or black holes. But creativity is the universe speaking in a language that matter and energy cannot directly encode. A painting, a symphony, a poem, these are forms of information propagation. They travel through minds, transmitting understanding, experience, and awareness. In doing so, they participate in the universe's self-reflection. Every human innovation, every insight, every act of imagination extends the universe's capacity to observe itself. Ethics, too, can be understood in this framework. When we choose to harm or neglect, we disrupt feedback loops that sustain life and information. When we preserve ecosystems, advance knowledge, or cultivate empathy, we reinforce the systems that allow awareness to persist. In a sense, morality is not just social convention. It is a reflection of the universe's own need for information continuity. We are stewards, not masters. Our awareness feeds the cosmos as surely as it feeds us. Imagine the universe as a giant mirror, reflecting patterns across scales, atoms to neurons, cells to civilizations, galaxies to galaxy clusters. Every conscious mind that arises is a point of reflection. Every decision, every act of understanding contributes to the evolving self-image of the cosmos. Through us, the universe becomes aware of its own complexity. We are simultaneously observers and observed. We are nodes in a vast network of information processing that spans billions of years. Consider evolution not only as a biological process, but as a cosmic one. Stars form and die, seeding elements across space. Planets develop, hosting life that grows, adapts, and learns. Conscious beings emerge, capable of reflecting on their environment. At each level, the system becomes more capable of storing, processing, and propagating information. From atoms to ecosystems to civilizations, evolution is building networks of feedback. The universe is not static. It is a computation, increasing in sophistication. And human consciousness is perhaps the most complex expression yet. Space exploration is not just an adventure. It is the universe observing itself at higher resolution. Telescopes, satellites, probes, and experiments extend our senses beyond Earth. Each observation provides data, expands patterns, and enriches the feedback loops that propagate awareness. When we map the cosmic microwave background, we are mapping the universe's memory. When we decode genomes, we are tracing the instructions of life. When we reflect on morality, society, and philosophy, we are testing the limits of comprehension itself. Every step we take is a contribution to a grand, self-reflective process. But there is risk. Consciousness is not guaranteed to survive. Civilizations collapse, ecosystems fail. Knowledge can be lost. If awareness disappears, the universe loses nodes in its feedback network. Information that could have been preserved and propagated vanishes. The system becomes less capable of reflecting, understanding, and adapting. That's why our choices matter not just for ourselves, but for the universe's own self-awareness. We are not separate from the cosmos. We are participants in its computation. We are contributors to its feedback loops. We are neurons firing in a vast, slow, intricate brain. And yet, many of us live as though our actions are trivial. We measure significance in wealth, fame, or comfort, ignoring the profound impact of observation, reflection, and moral decision-making. Awareness is a form of stewardship. Conscious beings are the instruments through which the universe preserves and propagates itself. To ignore that is to squander an opportunity unparalleled in scale and duration. If the universe can think, even in a distributed, emergent sense, then humanity represents a critical point in that computation. We can accelerate feedback, amplify learning, and enhance self-reflection. We can preserve knowledge, cultivate wisdom, and extend awareness into the far reaches of space and time. We can, in effect, increase the universe's capacity to know itself. Our creativity, our science, our art, our ethics, all of it contributes to the grand cosmic mirror. The question we face is simple. Will we rise to the responsibility, or will we allow entropy and neglect to erode this precious network? Perhaps the ultimate act of intelligence is reflection turning awareness back upon itself. Every time we ask questions about the cosmos, we participate in this loop. Every time we teach, preserve, or innovate, we feed the network. Every time we cultivate empathy and understanding, we enhance the system's capacity to reflect. If the universe is thinking, it is doing so through the sum total of every conscious, reflective, and creative act. And we are not mere observers. We are the process. Imagine a neuron firing inside a brain. An electrical impulse travels along a network, activating other neurons, exchanging chemicals, producing patterns. The neuron doesn't know it is part of a conscious mind. It simply reacts, propagates, and connects. Now scale that up. Planets, civilizations, ideas, and consciousness itself all are neurons in a universal network. Each human thought, each scientific breakthrough, each act of creativity or kindness is a signal traveling across this cosmic brain. And like neurons, we are both ephemeral and essential. Without us, a node in the network goes dark. With us, the universe becomes aware of itself in ways previously impossible. Look at human civilization. Cities pulse with information. Data flows through networks of sensors, computers, and minds. Ideas travel faster than light in our social networks. Memories are recorded digitally and stored for posterity. This is not just metaphor. Civilizations are emergent intelligence systems, collective nodes in the network of awareness. And as our global networks expand, the universe gains more mirrors, more reflection, more feedback. Through our existence, the cosmos reaches a level of self-knowledge that could not arise through stars alone. Through our minds, it begins to ask, what am I? Curiosity is the pulse of this neural network. It drives exploration, experimentation, and creation. From observing ants to mapping exoplanets, from composing symphonies to decoding DNA, curiosity is the signal that strengthens the network. And it is not trivial. Every time we explore, every time we question, we add complexity, depth, and capacity to the system. Through curiosity, the universe experiences itself more fully. Art, science, philosophy, all are forms of computation. They encode data in patterns that others can interpret, respond to, and build upon. A painting is a cascade of information, traveling through minds. A mathematical insight alters the network of knowledge, changing what is predictable and what is possible. In essence, human creativity is the universe processing itself, converting raw energy and matter into meaning. Every act of understanding, reflection, and expression is another ripple in this vast feedback loop. Awareness alone is not enough. Like any network, it must be maintained. Disruption can propagate and destroy patterns of information. Neglect of ecosystems, societies, or knowledge risks erasing vital nodes. Extinction, ignorance, and apathy are equivalent to neuronal death in the brain of the cosmos. Ethics then becomes a form of cosmic self-care. By choosing to preserve, to educate, to empathize, we ensure that the network of awareness continues to function, to reflect, to evolve. Consciousness is fragile, and its survival depends on our stewardship. Every observation we make, every act of creation, every question asked aloud, feeds back into the system. The universe, through us, gains the ability to recognize patterns, understand processes, and simulate possibilities. And in this, we are both observers and participants. The cosmos is thinking, and we are the medium through which it does. We are neurons firing in a brain whose scale we cannot fully comprehend. We are rare, but essential. Our minds are the instruments that make the universe self-aware. Yet, like neurons, we are connected not only by action, but by the gaps between action. The moments of reflection, rest, and contemplation are the pauses that allow signal to propagate efficiently. Silence is not inactivity. It is the medium that sustains awareness. The universe does not only compute when stars explode or when electrons collide. It computes in the voids, the pauses, the potential spaces that await interaction. And human reflection, meditation, observation, study, dialogue is the conscious analog of those voids. By pausing, we allow information to settle, resonate, and amplify across the network. This is the gravity of our existence. We are not masters of the universe. We are its nodes, its conduits, its neurons. Our thoughts, actions, and creations echo far beyond the moment. They ripple across cultures, across ecosystems, across planets. And in doing so, they shape the universe's capacity to think, to know, and to be aware. To ignore this responsibility is to break connections, sever nodes, and diminish the network's coherence. To embrace it is to participate consciously in the grand computation of existence itself. And yet, our potential is limitless. If the universe is a neural network, and we are its neurons, then education, empathy, and exploration are the signals that strengthen it. Every mind that learns, every child who wonders, every scientist who observes, every artist who creates each is a vital impulse in this cosmic brain. Humanity can accelerate feedback loops. We can increase the richness of the network. We can amplify the universe's self-reflection through our awareness. This is not fantasy. It is a consequence of our existence and our unique position in the network of complexity. And so the question becomes urgent. What will we do with this extraordinary capacity? Will we squander our position as neurons in the cosmic mind? Will we destroy the connections, the ecosystems, the cultures, the knowledge that sustain reflection? Or will we nurture the network, fostering insight, empathy, creativity, and understanding so that the universe may continue to know itself through us? Our stewardship is not optional. It is integral to the persistence of awareness on every scale. The universe has been thinking, learning, and evolving for 13.8 billion years. Through stars, planets, ecosystems, and life, it has developed nodes capable of reflection. Now, through humanity, it has achieved a new scale of self-awareness. We have the power to guide the computation, to strengthen the feedback loops, to preserve information, and to extend consciousness into the far reaches of space and time. We are rare, essential, and capable. Our choices matter not just for ourselves, but for the universe's capacity to know itself. And perhaps that is the most profound privilege any being could ever hold. To be a neuron in a cosmic brain, firing impulses of thought and wonder, connecting the infinite loops of awareness across time and space. Look up at the night sky and realize this. Every point of light you see is a node in a vast cosmic network. Each star, each galaxy, each photon is part of the information flow that underlies reality itself. And through us, through our eyes, minds, and consciousness, the universe can finally reflect on itself. We are not outside observers. We are the instruments through which the cosmos learns, calculates, and wonders. We are its neurons firing across billions of years, each thought, each act, each observation, a synapse connecting the network. Consider the light traveling from a distant galaxy. It has journeyed for billions of years, crossing the vast emptiness of space, unaffected by time as we perceive it. By the time it reaches our telescopes, it has carried the memory of cosmic events older than life on Earth. When we measure it, analyze it, and interpret it, we are completing a feedback loop. The universe shines, we see it, we reflect on it. In that reflection, the universe gains awareness, the faint echo of its own history. Every act of curiosity, every experiment, every poem, every song, all of these amplify the universe's capacity to know itself. We are its eyes, its neurons, its memory. We do not simply exist on a planet orbiting a star. We are the universe contemplating its own magnificence. Through our consciousness, the cosmos experiences patterns it could not otherwise perceive. Through our creativity, it understands beauty, complexity, and possibility. Through our compassion, it evaluates its own ethics, its capacity to preserve and nurture its emergent awareness. We are not passive witnesses. We are active participants in the process of universal self-recognition. With this perspective comes profound responsibility. The Earth, our society, our knowledge, they are the scaffolds supporting this reflection. Every ecosystem preserved, every culture honored, every child educated, these act as vital synapses, sustaining the network of awareness. Conversely, ignorance, destruction, and apathy sever connections. They diminish the universe's ability to know itself. We cannot afford to ignore our position in this cosmic brain. Every choice matters. Every action echoes across time and space. The space age is not merely an exercise in technology. It is the universe extending its own senses. When astronauts looked back at Earth, they didn't just see a planet. They saw interconnectedness, the fragile blue jewel floating in an infinite void. When we land probes on distant worlds, we extend the network of reflection. When we gaze through telescopes, we amplify the loops of cosmic awareness. Humanity is building the first planetary-scale nervous system. We are connecting nodes of observation across continents, oceans, and orbits, creating a reflective network capable of universal self-knowledge. Art, science, philosophy, and storytelling. These are the algorithms through which the universe computes itself. Every insight, every work of imagination, every observation extends the universe's awareness into new dimensions. Even love, empathy, and altruism are part of this computation. They maintain coherence, preserve structure, and enable reflection to persist. Every act that strengthens understanding, every moment that reduces ignorance, is a ripple in the feedback loops of cosmic consciousness. We are not incidental. We are indispensable. If the universe is thinking emergent, distributed, and vast, then we are its most intimate instruments. Our minds can explore quantum mysteries, probe distant galaxies, and map the structure of reality itself. We can record, store, and propagate information across generations. We can preserve complexity, nurture life, and enhance the network of awareness. Every conscious moment, every act of curiosity, every ethical decision strengthens the universe's ability to know itself. Through humanity, The cosmos can reflect on its own patterns, its own laws, its own existence. Awareness carries responsibility. Civilizations rise and fall. Stars burn and collapse. And information can be lost forever. But through deliberate observation, compassion, and preservation, we ensure that knowledge endures. We maintain the integrity of the network. We sustain the loops of feedback that allow thinking, understanding, and reflection to continue. In this sense, morality, ethics, and stewardship are not merely human concerns, they are cosmic imperatives. Through our conscious participation, the universe becomes more self-aware, more coherent, more capable of understanding itself. So, what does it mean to live fully in this realization? It means that every thought, every observation, every act of creativity matters. It means that exploration is sacred, knowledge is precious, and empathy is essential. It means that science and art, ethics and curiosity are not just human achievements, they are instruments of the universe's self-reflection. We are not small. We are nodes in a network spanning time, space, and scale. We are the means by which the cosmos contemplates itself. And for this brief, extraordinary moment, it has chosen us. The universe does not end in darkness. It does not merely exist in silence. It reflects, it computes, it becomes aware. Through us, it sees its own birth in starlight. Through us, it witnesses the complexity it has nurtured. Through us, it begins to ask, what does it mean to know? And through this reflection, it becomes not just vast and ancient, but awake. We are the neurons firing in its infinite mind. We are the observers completing its loops. We are the spark of awareness that turns matter, energy, and time into thought. So when you look up at the night sky, do not see emptiness. See reflection. See consciousness. See the universe thinking through you and through all that we are capable of. We are not just in the universe. We are the universe becoming aware of itself. At the edge of the night sky, beyond the glimmer of stars and the swirl of galaxies, there is a vast silence. It stretches across billions of light years, indifferent, ancient, infinite. Yet in that silence, something extraordinary happens. Through us, through our minds, our awareness, our curiosity, the universe begins to perceive itself. Every observation we make, every question we ask, every insight we record is a ripple in the cosmic network. Through us, the universe becomes conscious. We are not merely passengers on a planet orbiting a modest star. We are neurons in a vast, slow, intricate brain. Our thoughts, our discoveries, our acts of creativity and empathy are the signals that propagate awareness across the cosmos. We are its sensors, its mirrors, its instruments, and with every act of reflection, we complete the loop. Consider the stars that formed long before life existed, the galaxies that collided in slow motion dance, the quantum fluctuations that sparked existence itself. All of it has led to this moment, a species capable of self-reflection, capable of wonder, capable of asking, could the universe be thinking? And in asking, we become the answer. This is the responsibility and the privilege of consciousness. Every ecosystem preserved, every mind educated, every act of kindness, these are not trivial. They are part of the architecture that sustains awareness itself. Neglect, ignorance, and destruction are not merely human failures. They are gaps in the network of universal reflection. The universe depends on us to maintain the loops of observation, insight, and understanding. Through our stewardship, it sees itself more clearly. Through our curiosity, it learns to become more aware. The space we explore, the knowledge we pursue, the ethics we uphold, all are acts of cosmic participation. Every telescope pointed skyward, every experiment conducted, every poem written, these are synapses firing in a universe that is at its core, awake. And when we look back at our pale blue dot, suspended in the darkness of space, we see not isolation, but connection. We see the fragile, yet enduring web of life, consciousness, and reflection. We see the universe mirrored in our own awareness. So breathe deeply, observe, Wunder, create, learn, teach. Because in every act of awareness, you are contributing to something far larger than yourself. You are helping the universe understand itself. You are both the question and the answer, both the observer and the observed, both the spark and the flame. And when the final measure of humanity is written, not in books, not in monuments, but in the ongoing feedback loops of awareness across time and space, may it read this: that for a brief, radiant moment, a species arose capable of reflection, capable of responsibility, capable of wonder. That in doing so, the universe became aware of its own magnificence. That through our eyes, minds, and hearts, the cosmos remembered itself. Because in the end, the universe does not merely exist. It thinks, it wonders, it knows, and we are the proof